This video will provide instruction on the proper process for figure 8 storage of the AFL wrapping tube cable. The process of creating the figure 8 will also be applicable for racetrack fiber slack storage as well. AFL wrapping tube cable is an outside plant 600-pound rated cable. AFL wrapping tube cable design uses embedded strength members to reach the GR20 test requirements. On dielectric cable, there is a ridge at the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock of the cable, with the strength rods at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. This can also be determined by flexing the cable, finding its axial bending direction. Armored cable has no ridge and will need to be flexed to define rod locations. When wrapping tube cable is spooled off the cable reel, the strength rods are at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. It will be paid out with no twists entering the jet or the duct in the same orientation. When it exits the conduit, the cable can be in an unknown rotation, which is fine to work with, but as you lay the figure 8 down, it will take a 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock orientation. This orientation is maintained through the entire figure 8. There is no twisting that occurs in this process, and care should be taken not to induce a twist. A twist of more than 180 degrees in less than 1 meter is considered excessive and could potentially impact the optical performance of the cable. The same concept applies to racetrack storage of slack. This method eliminates the need to flip the coil, but the same principles remain. There is no need to induce twists in wrapping tube cable when storing in a racetrack configuration. Build your coil stack, allowing the natural lay of the cable to define the rotation of the coil. Wrapping tube cable can easily be stored in either a figure 8 or racetrack for midpoint temporary storage. As the cable leaves the duct, stage the end for entrance to the next segment and begin figure 8 coiling. A staging area of 50 to 100 feet in length is recommended for figure 8, but a longer, narrower one may be used in the racetrack method, depending on the needs of the job site. Once the end has been established, work back through the figure 8 cone layout using large loops. Larger loops are much easier to manage. Follow the lay of the cable and ensure you prevent any twists from forming. As you walk through the figure 8 process, there are many ways to accomplish this with your own personal method. But the fact must remain that there are no twists that are induced. By letting the cable extend past the crown of the 8 to fall into place and not twisting it or forcing it to lay in place, this will allow the AFL wrapping tube cable to naturally conform to the figure 8 shape without twisting. The cable is laid out layer over layer, building the figure 8 stack or racetrack coil. Do not exceed a figure 8 height that can be easily flipped. It is possible to make multiple figure 8s if a large amount of cable is to be stored. Once the figure 8 is complete and all cable has been put in storage, the figure 8 can then be flipped just like any other cable. Once the figure 8 has been flipped, the cable is ready to be installed for the next leg of the run. The cable should be handled in the same manner, as the figure 8 was created to prevent torque or twisting of the cable. Fiber payout should be from the center to fill the cable lead or the duct without twisting when entering the next layer. Continue to pay out cable from the figure 8 or racetrack storage, allowing the cable lay to guide the cable feed. If twists exist in the cable, they should be displaced in the conduit and not left for the storage coil.